Hey guys, and welcome back to G's Autos. Thank you so much for tuning in. Alright, before we take a look at what's actually been going on with the EB, let's have a quick update on what's actually happening with the Starlet. Alright, so over the next 6 to 7 weeks, the Starlet will be coming off the road for a couple of weeks. This is why I've been spending a bit of time on the EB, getting all the maintenance up to scratch. So the Starlet will be coming off the road. It will be getting the new heavy-duty clutch and the new lightened flywheel installed. Shortly after that, the new Haltech ECU will be going in, along with the Haltech IC7 digital instrument cluster. That'll be going in as well, and then the Starlet will get a fresh tune. So that's what's coming up on the Starlet. I just want to give you guys a heads up, just so you knew what was coming down the track soon. Anyway, back to the EB. Alright, so this is part 2 of the front end rebuild, and so just more cleaning, painting, getting everything ready before it all goes back in. I'm hoping next weekend, but we'll see what happens. Alright guys, enough out of me. I hope you liked the video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. Please feel free to leave a comment, and if you're enjoying what you're seeing on the channel, please subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. Alright guys, enough out of me, and I'll see you on the next one. Alright, so it's time to clean the upper control arms. So that's one of them there. Now the bushes weren't replaced. The bushes weren't replaced, they seem to be okay. So I'm just going to go through now, give these a clean, and then I'll assess whether I'm going to paint them or not. And we'll just go from there. Alright, let's get into it. Alright, I have cleaned up the control arms, and I've just removed those bushes. So what I'm going to do now is just run over this with some undercoat and then hit it with some black paint, same as what I used on the calipers. All right, undercoat is on. Looks all right. So now that's done, I'm going to lay down a couple of coats of the gloss black engine paint, and we'll see how it comes up. Alright, while I've got the control arms drying, they've all been painted, so I'm happy with those. This is how the wheel wells are looking now. These have been scrubbed down, and I've also given these a really good wipe down with Prepsol. So this is the driver's side. So I'm going to go over this with some chassis black and get this looking... Look, I must admit, they've come up really good. I am happy with them. I'm almost tempted not to paint them, but I am going to. So let's take a look at the passenger side. And here is the passenger side. This was really dirty, to be honest, even though I'd only cleaned it a couple of months beforehand, but it's come up really good. So this side is also ready to go. It's all been fully cleaned, wiped down with Prepsol, and ready for a coat of paint. So that's what we're going to do now. Alright, here is the driver's wheel well, painted. Hopefully you're seeing that okay. The light is a bit on the average side, a bit glary, but I think it's come up pretty good. I just need to touch up just that cable there. I didn't paint that, so I'll come back and I'll touch that up, but overall pretty good. So that's just one coat. I don't think I need to do another coat. I think that's looking pretty good, so I just now need to do the passenger side. So that probably took 45 minutes to an hour. I just sat there and took my time and went through it bit by bit. Alright, let's take a look at the control arms. They're all painted and finished. Look, the control arms came up pretty good. They're a bit powdery in a couple of spots where just along there, not very smooth, but it is what it is. I suck at painting, and they're control arms, so they will do the job. They look a lot better than what they first did. So I've just got to go through and clean up the brackets where the bushes sit, clean those up, and then put them back on. So let's take a look at the front suspension strut setup. Alright, so we've got brand new struts, Gabriel struts, brand new King springs, 30mm lowered, brand new dust boots, brand new bump stops, and brand new top hat rubbers. So they're rip-roaring ready to go. The control arms are done. I just need to paint that passenger passenger wheel well, and then what I'll do then is move on to these control arms. So I'll give these a really good scrub down. I'll hit them with some rust converter, and then I'll coat them in some black paint as well. Get them all cleaned up. I've got brand new sway bar rubbers. They'll go on. I'll clean up these sway bar links, make sure they're all nice and clean. And yeah, that'll be the next step. Alright, passenger side has been painted and I'm pretty happy with the results. For a paint that comes out of a tin, and for a fairly durable paint, I tell you what, it does put off a nice gloss finish. So that's all done. What I'll do tomorrow is I'll come out with a fresh set of eyes, and I'll have a look over it and just see if there's any little spots that I may have missed. And if I have, I'll just touch them up. So this is dried off nicely. So I'm going to go work on those lower control arms now, give them a clean up, hit them with some anti-rust treatment, and then give them a coat of paint as well. Here are the good old crusty lower control arms. All new bushes pressed in, happy days. I just need to take these sway bar links off, and I'll get cracking into these, give them a clean up. So let's do that now. Alright, so I'm now ready to continue cleaning these control arms. Now, I eventually got these sway bar links off. Now, these took about an hour to get off these lower control arms. I ended up having to double bolt them on one end to get them off. These things were stuck fast, I kid you not. So now that they're off, I'm going to finish cleaning these up and get them ready for paint. I'm going to use the same paint that I used on the inner wheel wells. I think they'll stand up a lot stronger to stone chips and whatnot. So let's finish cleaning that and get it done. Alright, so I've given this a final wipe down with Prepsol. Now what I like to do is I just get a stainless one of my stainless bowls, put a little bit of Prepsol in there and just use a toothbrush and just go over it after I've dipped it in there, and then give it a wipe down. I find that nice and easy to get into all the little corners and curves and things like that. So anyway, I've got my little bowl of rust converter and my little paintbrush, sorry, and I'm just going to go over and start putting this on, and yeah, and then we'll put it out to dry, and then I can paint it later on. Alright, I've cleaned up these sway bar end links, and as you can see, I'll put a close-up on the screen, but the threads are absolutely toast. So what I'm going to do is see if I can get these cleaned up, or I might just have to buy new ones. I'll see what happens. Alright guys, so here we are. I'm not even sure where I got up to last time with all these bits and pieces and cleaning everything. Days have passed. So everything's ready for paint. So all of this has been treated with rust converter and cleaned beforehand. Now you'll see the white residue on those metal parts, especially here. The instructions tell you to just clean that with soapy water. I've done that, it didn't work. I've also used Prepsol, that didn't work either. So I am painting over it. I am done with that part of it. So I've cleaned all these down, they're ready for paint, and I'm just using the same chassis black. So let's get into that now and give these a nice coat of paint and see how they come up. Alright guys, so it's the next day and everything is painted. So I just need to go through and clean up some of the mating surfaces, like on the uprights or knuckles, whatever you'd like to call them. Just where I've got a little bit of paint on there, I'll clean that up with a little bit of wet and dry sandpaper. But everything's come up really good, really happy with it. So it's going back on a lot better than what it came off. Now the upper control arms, I actually, on the underside, I used the chassis black. And they've come up pretty good. And obviously the I'm very happy with the calipers, so where one painted piece goes, they all go. So that's where I'm up to now. So let's take a look at the under tray. I've taken that off, so let's have a quick peek at that. Alright, so here are the under tray pieces. Couldn't help myself, taking them off. Let's clean them up and we'll give them a hit with some bed liner. So they're pretty filthy at the moment. I'll just clean this side up. I won't paint this side, obviously. So let's clean those up and work on that one next. The sway bar, I've started painting the sway bar. So we'll have a look at that later once I've finished. Alright, I've cleaned up these two plastic guards, covers, whatever you'd like to call them. They cleaned up pretty good, but as you can see they're fairly old, but the condition's pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is just go over these with some bed liner, and I'll do the same thing to the big under tray. So I'm about to run out of what I've got in the can, so I'll duck down the road and grab some more, but I'll show you what these look like once I've finished. Alright, here is the under tray. It cleaned up pretty good. So even though it's cleaned up okay, I'm still going to hit it with some bed liner just to finish it up. Alright, I'll paint it and we'll come back and have a look. Alright, so here are the two plastic little guards that sit on each side of the under tray. Now they've come up pretty good, and you will notice the splotchiness in the paint. I got to the very end of the can and it just shot out in bubbles and lumps and all sorts of... Yeah, it didn't come out very good, but the paint has settled pretty good and it will continue to settle. And so let's have a look at the under tray, because that's been painted too. Alright, now here is the under tray. It came up really good. I'm really happy with it. Now, if you had seen one of my previous videos on the EB, when I originally painted the plastic inner linings on the wheel wells, they came up pretty average because I didn't use the paint properly. I sprayed it was just horrible. So I've done a lot better job this time around, and I'm really, really happy with it. So that's come up great. That'll continue to settle, so I'm really, really happy with how that looks. Alright, now here is the sway bar. All I've done is given it a quick coat. You'll see where the brackets were sitting originally. I've just given that a thin coat. I'll put another coat over that later. I'm not worried about it today. So yeah, that's come up alright. I didn't fuss too much. There's a little bit there I've missed. I'll clean that up at another time. I'm kind of running out of time today. So yeah, I'm happy with it. It's a sway bar. Sway bar, and it looks a lot better than it did. Alright guys, I'll wrap this video up here now. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for part 3 as we start to put all this back together.